You might be wondering why I'm standing out here in front of this odd couple of bikes. If there ever was an odd couple, it's these two, 1992 Klein and a 2025 Polygon e-bike. But there's a good reason. There's something in common that I bet you don't know. So stick around, watch the video, and you're going to find out what that is. So let's start out with my friend's 1992 Klein mountain bike. Now this was probably not state-of-the-art even in 1992, but it was a pretty common mountain bike. But we're going to focus on the front end. It's got cantilever rim brakes. It's got a 2.1 tire. The bike itself probably weighs around 27 pounds. But now let's look at the Polygon e-bike. 2.6 tire. It's got a 220 millimeter rotor with a Magura M7 4-piston caliper. The bike itself is about 52 pounds and the rider is about 230 pounds. So think about the forces on the front of this bike compared to the Klein. But guess what's the same? You know what's the same on these two bikes? They're both 32 spoke cross 3 laced front wheels. And they're both 14 gauge spokes. You're going from this tiny little bit of load to an incredible amount of load. And I think it's starting to cause me problems. Listen to the clip. I'm going to try using just the front brakes on the braking. So you heard the sound, right? So what I think that is, I think what's happening is there's so much torque on the wheel, it's actually wrapping the spokes up and they're springing back, and that's that chattering noise you hear. So I know what you're thinking. You're thinking my spokes are just loose. Well, this gives me an opportunity to show you a tool I've wanted to talk about on the channel before, but never had a real good opportunity. So this basically checks spoke tension. And you look, it's got some numbers that kind of relate to almost nothing you could imagine. But there is a way to figure out what number we're looking for. All right, so this is the chart that Bikes Online was nice enough to give me for the rim that's on my e-bike. If you notice here, the max spoke tension in Newton meters is 1200. Now, according to this chart over here, you have to divide the max spoke tension by 9.8. So 1200 Newton meter divided by 9.8 is 122.44. So we go back to this chart here. We have a 2 millimeter spoke, which is what 14 gauge is. And we go down to 120, which is 32. So somewhere around 32 on that gauge is our max spoke tension. So anything from maybe 29 to 32 would be fine. So I checked a bunch of these off camera. That's about 30. 30. They're all pretty much in that range, 29 to 32. So none of them are loose. But I do have a solution to what I think the problem is. So let me tell you my plan. So it starts out, I bought a new hub. Now there's nothing wrong with the hub on that bike, but I needed to know the dimensions and I didn't want to take the wheel apart until I had all the parts to put it back together. So I bought a new hub. But part of that is I got these spokes. I don't know if you could see. Can you see the little taper there? It's a single butted spoke. So basically this end of the spoke is 13 gauge and this end is 14 gauge, so it still fits the rim. Okay, so it's going to make it a little stiffer right there. But I'm also going to lace it at a cross 4 pattern. So lacing this up with a cross 4 pattern and these different spokes should really increase the torsional rigidity of this wheel. I know it's a mouthful, right? But hopefully it's going to stop the problem I'm having with the brakes. I'm not going to lace it up on this video because you could go back to my last video. I did a cross 4 lacing video. So I'm going to lace this thing up. I'm going to put it together and then we're going to go try it out, see if it's still making a crazy noise. All right, so we got the wheel together. It's laced up cross 4 with the fancy single butted spokes where they're a little bit bigger down here. But I wanted to show you, I got the tape on there, you'll see. I'm going to show you why a Cross 4 has more torsional strength. So if you look at these two spokes, okay, these are next to each other on the hub. It's almost 180 degrees. They're almost pulling directly across from each other. But if you look here on a Cross 3 layout, you got quite a bit of angle here, right? It's not pulling directly against each other. So that's why the Cross 4 setup is so much more rigid in that direction of load. So I guess we're going to get it on a bike, and the next time you see me, I'm going to be at Clayton Park, and we're going to see if I fix the problem. So we're out here at Clayton Park, and things have not gone the way I thought they would. Let's see if I can hit the brake. Still doing the same thing. Hadn't changed one little bit. Now, I thought about just trashing this whole video, but I think what we need to do is figure out what is actually going on. The only component is the rotor. It has a brand new Magura 220mm rotor. So, I don't know, the only option here is to buy another rotor and put it on there. It really upsets me because I paid a lot of money for that rotor, and I only got 3 runs on it before it got noisy. We're going to get back to the shop and we're going to figure out what we're going to do. All right, so that didn't quite work out. I really thought about just trashing this whole video, but you know, it's the kind of thing that happens when you're trying to solve problems, right? So we're back to the drawing board. The only other part in this whole mess could be the rotor, and it was a brand new rotor, and it was not a cheap rotor. I got 3 rides out of it before that started having a noise, so maybe we'll try a different brand. Let me look into this a little bit, and we'll see what we're going to do. So we got a rotor in, 220mm rotor from a company called Hard-Headed Ram. I've heard of them before. I saw they sold brake pads on eBay. But actually it looks like kind of a quality piece to me. I'm guessing they don't make it themselves. Somebody must be making it. But it looks fairly heavy duty. There's their little emblem in case you're looking for them. We'll let you know once it's on the bike how it does. And I got me some semi-metallic pads. The pads that were on it were fine, but I don't like putting new rotors on with used pads. So I'm going to get this stuff on there, and we're going to go to Clayton again, and hopefully this solves the problem. All right, we're back on the trail where I did the testing last time, and I have not grabbed a handful of front brake yet. I've been gently bedding the pads in, working my way out here. So when I grab that front brake hard, I'm going to hear it for the first time just like you. So let's find a little straight area I can lay into this thing. Woohoo! No noise. Okay. Let's try one more time. Let's try down here. Wow, I can almost stand the back tire up. Nope, no noise. All right, so in the end it worked out. It was kind of a comedy of errors, the whole thing. Just wanted to show you this Magura rotor. This is the one I took off. The only thing I could figure is it's all these little notches banging, I don't know. And you might say, why didn't I contact Magura? Well, guess what? I did. And I described to them what was going on and asked for the warranty. And their reply was perfectly normal for the rotor to sound that way. So, I don't know. It would drive me nuts, though. I couldn't deal with it, so. I know this whole video seemed like a Simpson episode, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. And see you next time on The Shed.